I don't know if you heard this story, but it's quite interesting because this is so fresh. The director of the movie Black Panther, which we all know, it doesn't matter if you lived in the US, in Canada, in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, you heard about the waves that Black Panther made. So the director of Black Panther actually got handcuffed and detained at the branch of Bank of America in the US for quite some time before actually have being, released based on a mistake. So in this video I'm going to get into the details of what happened, if it was an act of black racism that we are again one more time seeing at a bank, at a major bank here in America, or it was just a random, confusion or mistake by the teller. All right, so getting into the details of actually what happened, here it is. His name is Ryan Coogler. All right, Black Panther director Ryan Coogler mistaken for a bank robber in Atlanta. So it seems as if this was a mistake. Let's get deeper. We deeply regret that the incident occurred, Bank of America said in a statement about the episode on January 7th. It never should have happened, and we have apologized to Mr. Coogler. So what exactly did happen? He was briefly detained by the police at a branch in Atlanta, January, after bank employees assumed he was trying to rob it. It gets very juicy. Mr. Coogler, all right, best known for directing Black Panther, had handed the teller with a withdrawal slip on January 7th, asking for more than $10,000 with a note on the back asking her to be discreet when handing him the cash, according to a police report. I think it was precisely $12,000 if you read some other media outlets relating the story. He said he also had his California state ID card as well as his Bank of America card when he approached the teller. Both Mr. Coogler and the teller are black. This is really important. We're going to get back to it in a minute later down the video. The teller received an alert notification from Mr. Coogler's account and quickly advised her manager that he was trying to rob the bank branch in the Buckhead section of Atlanta. The police were called, and when they arrived, they found an SUV parked in front of the bank. The driver identified Mr. Coogler as a movie producer and said he was waiting for him while he was also making a transaction inside the bank. There was another woman sitting as a passenger in the SUV parked in front of the bank and also confirmed that same information. So far, so good. Now, the officers were given a description that Mr. Coogler that matched the description of a man who was reported to have been trying to rob the bank. It is not surprising when you actually look at this picture of Mr. Coogler. This is exactly how he was dressed getting into the bank, I believe. So he had a hat, he had a mask, and he has some, a hoodie on, and he also had a face mask. And I believe this is what kind of, tricked the teller and made her a little bit panic at the moment. All right, so we have another footage here of him, Mr. Coogler, actually writing, the piece of paper where you actually have the withdrawal note from, the bank. And then again, here you have the note that he's kind of sliding to the teller as he's making the withdrawal of $12,000 on his account. So this is where it gets a little bit more confusing, all right? Because first off, he handed out his ID, all right? He handed out his California ID, driver license, and he also handed out his Bank of America account. So maybe what caused the teller to be confused or alarmed was maybe the amount, which is $12,000 he was willing to remove to withdraw in cash. But the question is, how come was she alert and alarmed if the guy, as a client of the bank, handing out both the driver license and his Bank of America card? So he's obviously a client of the bank. All right, let's move forward. The officers said that they detained the driver and the passenger and placed them in a patrol car. They also removed Mr. Coogler from the bank in handcuffs and determined that he was not a bank robber. And the police confirmed that it was a mistake by Bank of America and that he was never in the wrong. Well, all three were given an explanation of the incident as well as an apology by the mistake by Bank of America. In a body camera video released by the police car, you can see Mr. Coogler sitting handcuffed in the bank in the back of a police car near the bank branch. Now, he explained, this is Mr. Kugler explaining, he explained that he had been withdrawing money to pay a medical assistant who works for his family. He said that he had passed a note asking for a discreet withdrawal because he doesn't feel safe when he withdraws cash to pay her and has to wait as the bills are passed through a counting machine. I totally understand this. I mean, even when I personally go to the bank and have to withdraw more than $300 if I'm in, the branch, not, at a drive-through, I don't feel secure. Why? Because this is a lot of cash. All right. It may not be for some of you, but it may also drive the attention of somebody maybe following me, back to wherever I'm going and trying to rob me and take my cash. So imagine $12,000. So definitely, I do understand, given his high profile, as a VIP in Hollywood, to also be careful and cautious about approaching this big withdrawal amount. I'm talking about $12,000. This is a five-figure money in cash. I'm trying to get money out of my own account, he told the police in the video. The teller said, never said he was a problem, and then adding that he had used his bank card and PIN and had given her its ID. This is where it's kind of a little bit confusing to me again. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, guys. Maybe, I don't know. If you are, in the retail banking industry, let me know if this is a kind of regular, process or regular approach when you are facing these kind of situations. Let me know if I'm wrong trying to think this is confusion, or maybe this was clearly a mistake. If you would have made the same mistake, comment in the comment section below. Now, he was wearing a cap, sunglasses, and a mask, as we are seeing here in the video, in this picture, and the body cams, from the police officers and the Bank of America branch. So it's. I mean, we are face masking everywhere. I mean, maybe that has changed, but it shouldn't be the reason why she got scared. If that's what got her scared. Now, she got scared. This is what he's adding. She got scared when a black dude handed her a note. Maybe, because usually you don't have customers handing you a note. But that's, again, would not surprise her because the guy obviously is a client of the bank. All right? In a separate video released by the police, the teller told investigators that Mr. Kugler kept pointing to the note, and even though he handed her his ID, her stomach started turning. On her computer, the withdrawal was flagged as a high-risk transaction, she said. She told her manager, I don't feel comfortable about this transaction. Okay, let's pause here for a second. The guy obviously is, a successful black man in America, all right? So how come, I mean, again, this is based on pure speculation because we don't know exactly the total amount or the balance he had on that specific account at Bank of America, so that withdrawing $12,000 will be flagged as a high-risk transaction. And maybe adding to the fact that the guy was wearing a hoodie and a face mask and, shades, maybe that's why, scare her off. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's the reason she was scared of. And actually, on top of the transaction being flagged as a high-risk transaction, that's why she went to her manager. But again, still kind of borderline. The manager suggested they talk to the customer, but she was worried he might have a gun, she said. And so she called directly 911. She added that she, as a pregnant woman, I have to protect myself and I have to protect my child. Yeah, I understand that, lady. But let's continue. In a statement on Wednesday, Mr. Kugler said this situation should have never happened. And he added that Bank of America worked with me and addressed it to my satisfaction, and we have moved on. Which, no, it shouldn't really cause much more issue just in that if they actually work it out. We don't have the details of what happened on the working out, but if he's moved on, good. Bank of America said in a statement, we deeply regret that this incident occurred. It never should have happened, and we have apologized to Mr. Kugler. Well, before we continue to the video, folks, please, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please subscribe and give me a quick like in order to help, for the algorithm with YouTube, you know how it works, for the video to actually be shared with as many people as possible. So moving on. If you were in this situation, all right, if you were in this situation, having known the details of the story, would you have moved on after working out details with the branch, knowing that, well, I'm a customer, all right? I have an account with you. I showed you whatever I needed to show you in order to be able to withdraw that amount of money, all right? So is that a wrong? Is that a right from the bank or from him, the customer? Actually, maybe the fact that he was dressed in a way that she's kind of spooked her as a tailor, especially being a pregnant woman, she got scared. I mean, do you think she did the right thing, or would you have done something different if you were actually in her same situation? Now, what is actually a little bit more confusing about this story, I mean, not confusing, but interesting, is the fact that this is not the first time we are hearing something like this happening to certain people with certain skin color. So even though it might be labeled as a mistake, the very fact that it is stigmatizing black people, it doesn't matter the amount of success, it doesn't matter the amount of social status, it's still happening to us. So to me, that's the problem. I may be wrong here, but just drop a comment and let me know what you think about this whole thing. But personally, I think, yeah, it should have happened. Again, the guy's a client. I don't know how much money he had in that specific account, but $12,000 doesn't seem like a whole lot that should be flagged as a high transaction, even though you're withdrawing cash, especially for that type of client. Again, I may be wrong here, but you let me know in the comment section.